Dear students, please open your textbook before you start listening. Underline important lines and mark difficult words. Use earphone or headphone for full concentration. Happy listening and happy learning. Page number 132. Activity 8.5. Take a potato and observe its surface. Can notches be seen? Next, cut the potato into small pieces such that some pieces contain a notch or bud and some do not. Next, spread some cotton on a tray and wet it. Place the potato pieces on this cotton. Note where the pieces with the buds are placed. Next, observe changes taking one place in these potato pieces over the next few days. Make sure that the cotton is kept moistened. Next, which are the potato pieces that give rise to fresh green shoots and roots? Similarly, buds produced in the notches along the leaf margin of bryophyllum fall on the soil and develop into new plants. Figure 8.5. Leaf of bryophyllum with buds. Activity 8.6. Select a money plant. Cut some pieces such that they contain at least one leaf. Cut out some other portion between two leaves. Dip one end of all the pieces in water and observe over the next few days. Which one grow and give rise to fresh leaves? What can you conclude from your observations? Now in the column More to Know. Tissue culture. In tissue culture, new plants are grown by removing tissues or separating cells from the growing tip of a plant. The cells are then placed in an artificial medium where they divide rapidly to form a small group of cell or callus. The callus is transferred to another medium containing hormones for growth and differentiations. The plantlets are then placed in the soil so that they can grow into mature plants using tissue culture. Many plants can be grown from one parent in disease-free conditions. This technique is commonly used for ornamental plants. 8.2.6 Spore formation. Even in many simple multicellular organisms, specific reproductive parts can be identified. The thread-like structure that developed on the bread in activity 8.2. Above are the hyphae of the bread mold rhizopus. They are not reproductive part. On the other hand, the tiny blob on a stick structure are involved in reproduction. The blobs are sporangia, which contain cells or spores that can eventually develop into new rhizopus individual. See in figure 8.6. The pores are covered by thick wall that protect them until they come into contact with another moist surface and can begin to grow. Page number 133. All the modes of reproduction that we have discussed so far allow new generation to be created from a individual. This is known as asexual reproduction. Questions. Number 1. How does binary fission differ from multiple fission? Number 2. How will an organism be benefited if it reproduces through spores? Number 3. Can you think of reasons why more complex organisms cannot give rise to new individuals through regeneration? Number 4. Why is vegetative propagation practiced for growing some type of plants? Number 5. Why is DNA copying an essential part of the process of reproduction? 8.3. Sexual reproduction. We are also familiar with modes of reproduction that depend on the involvement of two individuals before a new generation can be created. Bulls alone cannot produce new calves, nor can hen alone produce new chick. In such cases, both sexes, males and females, are needed to produce new generations. What is the significance of this sexual mode of reproduction? Are there any limitations of the asexual mode of reproduction, which we have been discussing above? 8.3.1 Why the sexual mode of reproduction? The creation of two new cells from one involves copying of the DNA as well as of the cellular apparatus. The DNA copying mechanism, as we have noted, cannot be absolutely accurate, and the resultant errors are a source of variation in population of organism. Every individual organism cannot be protected by variations, but in a population, variations are useful for ensuring the survival of the species. It would therefore make sense if organism came up with reproductive modes that allowed more and more variation to be generated. While DNA copying mechanisms are not absolutely accurate, they are precise enough to make the generation of variation a fairly slow process. If the DNA copying mechanism were to be less accurate, many of the resultant DNA copies would not be able to work with the cellular apparatus and would die. So, how can the process of making variant be speeded up? Each new variation is made in a DNA copy that already has variations accumulated from previous generations. Thus, two different individuals in a population would have quite different patterns of accumulated variations. Since all of these variations are in living individuals, it is assured that they do not have any really bad effect. Combining variation from two or more individuals would thus create new combination of variants. Each combination would be novel since it would involve two different individuals. Page number 134. The sexual mode of reproduction incorporates such a process of combining DNA from two different individuals during reproduction. But this creates a major difficulty. If each new generation is to be the combination of the DNA copies from two pre-existing individuals, then each new generation will end up having twice the amount of DNA that the previous generation had. This is likely to mess up the control of the cellular apparatus by the DNA. How many ways can we think of for solving this difficulty? We have seen earlier that as organisms become more complex, the specialization of tissue increases. One solution that many multicellular organisms have found for the problem mentioned above is to have a special lineage of cells and specialized organs in which only half the number of chromosomes and half the amount of DNA as compared to the non-reproductive body cells. This is achieved by a process of cell division called meiosis. Thus, when these germ cells from two individuals combine during sexual reproduction to form a new individual, it results in re-establishment of the number of chromosomes and the DNA content in the new generation. If the zygote is to grow and develop into an organism which has highly specialized tissues and organs, then it has to have sufficient stores of energy for doing this. In very simple organism, it is seen that the two germ cells are not very different from one another or may even be similar. But as the body designs become more complex, the germ cell also specialize. One germ cell is large and contains the food store while the other is smaller and likely to be motile. Conventionally, the motile germ cell is called the male gamete and the germ cell containing the stored food is called the female gamete. We shall see in the next few sections how the need to create these two different types of gamete give rise to differences in the male and female reproductive organ and in some cases differences in the bodies of the male and female organisms. 8.3.2 Sexual reproduction in flowering plants. The reproductive part of the angiosperm are located in the flower. You have already studied the different parts of a flower: sepals, petals, stamens, and pistil. Stamens and pistil are the reproductive part of a flower which contain the germ cell. What possible function could be petals and sepals serve? The flower may be unisexual. Papaya, watermelon, when it contains either stamens or pistil, or bisexual. Hibiscus, mustard, when it contains both stamens and a pistil. Stamen is the male reproductive part and it produces pollen grain that are yellowish in color. You must have seen this yellowish powder that often sticks to our hand if we touch the stamen of a flower. Pistil is present in the center of a flower and is the female reproductive part. It is made up of 3 parts. Page number 135. The swollen bottom part is the ovary, middle elongated part is the style, and the terminal part, which may be sticky, is the stigma. The ovary contains ovules and each ovule has an axil. The male germ cell produced by pollen grain fuses with the female gamete present in the ovule. This fusion of the germ cell or fertilization gives us the zygote, which is capable of growing into a new plant. Thus, the pollen needs to be transferred from the stamen to the stigma. If this transfer of pollen occurs in the same flower, it is referred to as self-pollination. On the other hand, if the pollen is transferred from one flower to another, it is known as cross-pollination. This transfer of pollen from one flower to another is achieved by agents like wine, water, or animals. After the pollen lands on a suitable stigma, it has to reach the female germ cell, which are in the ovary. For this, a tube grows out of the pollen grain and travels through the style to reach the ovary. After fertilization, the zygote divides several times to form an embryo within the ovule. The ovule develops a tough coat and is gradually converted into a seed. The ovary grows rapidly and ripens to form a fruit. Meanwhile, the petals, sepals, stamens, style, and stigma may shrivel and fall off. Have you ever observed any flower part still persisting in the fruit? Try and work out the advantage of seed formation for the plant. The seed contains the future plant or embryo which develop into a seedling under appropriate condition. The process is known as germination. Activity 8.7. Soak a few seeds of Bengal gram, chana, and keep them overnight. Next, drain the excess water and cover the seed with a wet cloth and leave them for a day. Make sure that the seed do not become dry. Cut open the seeds carefully and observe the different parts. Compare your observation with the figure 8.9 and see if you can identify all the parts. 8.3.3. Reproduction in human being. So far, we have been discussing the variety of mode that different species use for reproduction. Let us now look at the species that we are most interested in, namely humans. Humans use a sexual mode of reproduction. How does this process work? Let us begin at an apparently unrelated point. All of us know that our bodies change as we become older. You have learned changes that take place in your body earlier in class 8 also. We noticed that our height has increased continuously from early age till now. We acquire teeth. We even lose the old, so-called milk teeth and acquire new ones. Page number 136. All of these are changes that can be grouped under the general process of growth, in which the body becomes larger. But in early teenage years, a whole new set of changes occurs that cannot be explained simply as body enlargement. Instead, the appearance of the body changes, proportion changes, new features appear, and so do new sensations. Some of these changes are common to both boys and girls. We begin to notice thick hair growing in new parts of the body, such as armpits and the genital area between the thighs, which can also become darker in color. Thinner hair can also appear on legs and arms, as well as on the face. The skin frequently becomes oily and we might begin to develop pimples. We begin to be conscious and aware of both our own bodies and those of others in new ways. On the other hand, there are also changes taking place that are different between boys and girls. In girls, breast size begins to increase with darkening of the skin of the nipple at the tip of the breast. Also, girls begin to menstruate at around this time. Boys begins to have new thick hair growth on the face and their voices begin to crack. Further, the penis occasionally begins to become enlarged and erect, either in daydream or at night. All of these changes takes place slowly over a period of month and year. They do not happen all at the same time in one person, nor do they happen at an exact age. In some people, they happen early and quickly, while in others, they can happen slowly. Also, each change does not become complete quickly either. So, for example, thick hair on the face in boys appear as a few scattered hairs first, and only slowly does the growth begin to become uniform. Even so, all these changes show differences between people. Just as we have differently shaped noses or fingers, so also we have different patterns of hair growth or size and shape of breast or penis. All of these changes are aspects of the sexual maturation of the body. Why does the body show sexual maturation at this age? We have talked about the need for specialized cell type in multicellular bodies to carry out specialized functions. The creation of germ cell to participate in sexual reproduction is another specialized function, and we have seen that plants develop special cell and tissue type to create them. Human beings also develop special tissues for this purpose. However, while the body of the individual organism is growing to its adult size, the resources of the body are mainly directed at achieving this growth. While that is happening, the maturation of the reproductive tissues is not likely to be a major priority. Thus, as the rate of general body growth begins to slow down, reproductive tissues begin to mature. This period during adolescence is called puberty. So, how do all the changes that we have talked about link to the reproductive process? We must remember that the sexual mode of reproduction means that germ cells from two individuals have to join together. This can happen by the external release of germ cells from the bodies of individuals, as happens in flowering plant, or it can happen by two individuals joining their bodies together for internal transfer of germ cell for fusion, as happens in many animals. If animals are to participate in this process of mating, their state of sexual maturity must be identifiable by other individuals. Thank you, students. Please listen twice for better understanding. Hope you like the video and subscribe for upcoming videos.